How's it going, everyone? The following is a conversation that I have with Ryan Gilmore. He is an Afghanistan veteran, a local investor, a father, and just an all-around very interesting human being. I think you're really going to like this one. In this, we cover everything from what it's like to be a real estate agent, his story about how he got into investing and flipping 15 to 20 properties within the last few years, the mental toughness that it takes to do these kind of things, and David Goggins' book. This is a conversation that we have on a wide range of topics. There is some profanity in here, so if there's any sensitive ears in the room, you might want to stay away for right now. But if you're in for a fun time and want to learn some stuff, then this podcast, I think, is going to be for you. My name, by the way, is Brandon Vincent. I'm a real estate agent in Saint John, New Brunswick, and thank you for checking out the Port City Podcast. Let's get into it. All right, so we're good to go. Ryan Gilmore, welcome, man. I am super excited to have this conversation with you. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know exactly what we're going to talk about. None of this is planned. That's the fun part about this.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know Ryan is a investor here mostly in Saint John, from my understanding.
Primarily in Saint John, yeah.
Primarily in Saint John, a real estate investor. We'll get into exactly kind of like how many units and things along those lines. Also, a military veteran from Afghanistan and a father and just an amazing guy. And I'm super interested to sit here and have a conversation with you, man.
That's cool, man. I'm glad you think that. Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, man. So we got together even though it was Snowmageddon.
Snowmageddon, yeah. And just for anybody watching, there's currently a major snowstorm going on where we're supposed to have about 100-kilometer-hour winds too. We could lose power. That's very possible.
Yeah.
That power could flicker here.
Roll
but
with the punches.
if it does, luckily the laptop's on the battery. We could roll for a little while anyway.
Yeah, for
in
sure.
the dark.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah, man. So how's everything going, Ryan? I've been following you on Facebook. You have a whole bunch of stuff going on. I don't even know where should we get started.
Where do you start?
Let's start with what I'm interested, man. Let's start on the real estate side of things that you've been doing, because I'm actually interested on how you got going with becoming an investor, because I know that you flipped, I'm going to say probably like 9 to 15 properties in your life?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah, just right off the top of the head, like in my office, there's at least 10, 12 boxes, and that's all filled with purchase and sale agreements. That's all filled with all the stuff that you get when you buy and sell deals, right? So,
right.
Yeah, a couple deals went through.
Just from being a real estate agent, I've always seen you around different multi-units, smoking your cigars. And I've had a few clients. One of my clients he's like, I really like that guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, man,
that's right.
You're just a big personality, and you don't see that very often where people are just kind of like comfortable in their own skin. So it's fun to see.
I think that's important. You gotta, you are who you are, and it comes off disingenuous when you try and be someone else. So like it or not, you gotta kind of be who you are, right? So
100%, man. And I think it's hard for people to figure out who they are. I know for a long time, I didn't even know who I was.
Yeah.
It takes a while to work into it.
Yeah.
It takes a while to kind of work into it to really figure out. And it can change too. I mean, people can change as well, right? So that's an interesting part too. Be who you are, but you see some people do drastic changes in their life, but that's them changing who they are, which is also super interesting. Let's say somebody who maybe was just a disaster, but then they pull it all fucking together. It's like,
which is incredible.
Which is incredible, and I love seeing that kind of stuff. And it's like it's the same person, but yeah. So your real estate. Let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about. I'm kind of curious. How many deals have you done? How many homes have you flipped? Is what I'm asking. Sorry.
I think probably somewhere like between 15, 20, something like that.
Yeah.
Not counting for the multi units that I turned over.
Right. We're not talking doors. We're talking buildings, right?
Yeah. So I think I probably did like 15 in the last couple of years until I shifted from primarily flipping, and then I shifted more into holding. So in between then, when I was buying, renovating, selling, and then now we're starting to hold and get rid of smaller things.
Nice.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So single family units, I'm not holding anymore.
You're not doing the single family.
No.
Is that because of is that just because you're not making enough money on them? Is it because there's more money in the multis?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's easy for me to I have the ability to buy multis. So if I didn't have the ability to buy multis, obviously I would have to invest in single family because they are easier to get. There's less margin on them, especially in New Brunswick, as people know, because of the double taxation.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
that's a pain in the
I mean, you're
ass.
talking double taxation, double water and sewer, like especially if you own like a duplex, right? So you're getting hit hard, right? It eats into the profits, slowly eats into the profits.
100%. They talked about
They are
getting rid of that, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then during COVID, it kind of got put on the back burner.
Yeah. So it's actually, if I'm not wrong, I sit on the board of directors for the Apartment Owners Association.
Cool.
Right,
Okay.
which hasn't been super active since COVID. From like my contribution has been almost nil because we haven't really been able to get together since COVID. COVID kind of flipped everything, right? And I got on right before COVID, right? So I didn't really have a chance to kind of even see really how it worked, and then it slowed down.
How often do they meet?
We did meet once every couple months, and now I haven't been to a meeting in a couple years now because it was all we didn't do any of the Zoom stuff. We didn't do any of the team stuff.
Okay.
It just kind of shut down, and the people who are the core body of that, they're kind of just taking care of everything now.
Okay.
But as far as I know, and I'm not super up to date on this either, but the double taxation is being addressed.
Yeah.
Right. From what side, I don't know, but I think that there has been changes to it, or something is now being loaded and coming down the pipe. So that should help people. And on that topic, what people don't understand, because all you see online is people looking at the now when it comes to the double taxation, and everyone says, yes, if we get rid of the double tax, all it's going to do is make the landlords more money, which you are correct. That is going to make initially. Right? On the front end is going to make the landlords more money. But what people are not seeing is on the back end, 12 months later, 2 years later, the landlord does not have to raise the rent to keep up with expenses.
Right.
So the tenants are really going to get a benefit from the drop in the double taxation in the back end.
Yeah, people like to point fingers at landlords like they're the bad guys, man. And it's all about what position you're looking at it from, unfortunately, as to how you kind of perceive it, right? Like, I know just from kind of watching your journey, I feel like your intention is obviously you're a businessman and you want to make some money, but your intention is also to try to create good living environments, because you're not just doing half-ass flips. Like, I see in there leveling floors, doing stuff that a lot of people would cut corners on and things along those lines. So like you're going in trying to provide good living accommodations for people. That's not something people talk about. They don't talk about landlords that are actually making nice spaces.
No.
They just umbrella all landlords. And I think what it comes from is that term, like slumlords, right? There was a lot of slumlords, and still is everywhere. People that just buy a property, let it decay, and charge and just keep raising rents on people. And I think that's
because the money's there on the front end. So how I was raised and when I started developing my own business acumen based on people in my family and other people around, when I buy something, I buy it with the intention of keeping it forever. So I always say, and it's half a joke and half not, I'm a bloodthirsty capitalist, right? But when you get into it, I believe in providing a good product, right, for a fair market price. And I believe that people do need safe living conditions.
100%. Yep.
Because I believe those things, because that's where the money's made. The money is not made in being at the top end of the rent and having huge turnover. The money is made at being 80 to 85 to 90% of what that market value is, and providing good, safe, affordable, right? I don't mean affordable as in subsidized. I mean affordable as in you can afford it.
Right.
And then you stay there.
Yeah.
Right? I have a girl in one of my buildings that I took over. I renovated the whole building. It was a complex. And she had been there 42 years now.
Wow.
She'd been in that building, in that same unit.
Right.
Right?
You don't want to lose her.
No. And this is the thing. They're on fixed incomes. Right? So when I renovated the entire building, and the person next to her in the same unit, not the same quality, obviously, because I had renovated and fixed it, but it's the same configuration, 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom.
Almost like carbon copies of each other.
Right.
One just outdated.
The new one is paying 3.5 times more than what she's paying. But I bought the building knowing that situation.
Right.
So I said, as much as I need this building to cash flow, and it does cash flow, I also can't force her, who's been there for 42 years, to now go pay $1,800, $2,000 for the same accommodations. That didn't sit well with me, right? Because I was able to make money still, and provide that safety for her.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not that I'm trying to provide affordable and nice housing because I'm a philanthropist,
Right?
I want. Although I do pride myself in that, but that to me is my niche. That is where the real money is made, is when people are happy. It's not like selling someone something, and they're happy with it. They come back and buy more.
That's where the business is, right? On the repeat referral.
Exactly.
You do a good transaction with somebody, you treat them right, and then you have that business for life now, as opposed to just bag them and tag everybody, right?
Right. I see in New Brunswick, because we're such a small population, that every transaction has to be the max.
It's true, man.
It seems like they got to get you for the most they can get you this time, where I believe in volume. And that has transitioned into... Right? Instead of selling one thing for $10, I believe in selling two things for $5.
When you said the max, I thought you meant like the max, like effort put into servicing somebody, I guess. When you said like everything is like being sold for the max. And I feel like in a small town like New Brunswick, you have to have that mindset of like, I need to really put my best foot forward. And I can admit there's times where maybe I wasn't doing that for some reason or another. But the ones that work out the best are when I've put the client's interest first. And like, that's what has grown my business. Every once in a while, there's a transaction that might be bumpy or something like that. But like the ones that come back, that's a referral business. And then they send you a whole bunch of clients, and that's how you build stuff. And in a small, so you made a good point. In a small province like New Brunswick, and even a small town like Saint John city, growing city, it's important to treat people well, because like one thing people don't realize, and I have a lot of investors call from like other provinces where they're like, why is the rent so low? Why are the rents so low? And like what they don't realize is there's some landlords that bought these buildings for like $90,000 20 years ago. And they know the tenants, and they see them at their grocery store. They see them all around, and they feel bad for raising the rents. And I try to explain that to some people. It's like, unfortunately, what we're seeing is a lot of people come here and like raising rents, and that's where the frustration comes from. There's a lot of frustration from people moving from other provinces and coming here and raising prices on things.
Yeah.
But you can't stop that, though. You can't stop capitalism.
No,
you can't stop the free market flow, because then you're operating under like some type of dictatorship situation, and that's, I don't think, ideal either.
No, but where the problem comes is when the people come from other provinces and they start raising their prices for their services to the standard of where they're from.
Right.
That's the disconnect. Is that where are you doing business? You're not. I hear it all the time. Oh, in Toronto. I said, well, we're not in Toronto.
Yeah.
We are as far away from Toronto as anything could be.
Right.
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 So you can't,
even the way we operate.
Yeah. You can't come here and say, well, 2-bedroom in Toronto is $2,500 or $3,500. Yeah, but not here. It's not.
Right.
Right. Because the mean salary for people in this area is different than there. That's what it's all based on, right? It's all based on income.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I don't agree with. I never raised my rents through COVID, even when you could.
Yeah.
I believe that I have a process when I buy a building. If it needs to be renovated, I renovate it, right? I go on margin. I use all my own money, and I renovate it to the standard that it's going to be at. And that's when I raise the rents. Everything after that is incremental rent raises that is due to rising expenditures.
So are you waiting until either a tenant leaves to do those renovations?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So so then you're never kicking anybody out. Somebody's got to leave. And then that's the moment where you're like, okay, I'm going to go in, give this new flooring, paint, kitchen, whatever needs to happen, bathroom, tubs. Normally that's a lot of it.
You can't do proper renovations around people.
Right.
You can't do it.
No.
And I don't believe...
It's not going to be a good situation for you or them.
Yeah, I'm not in a situation where I have to displace people to do the renovations either. Yeah. There is a simple a law of buying real estate. If you buy a 12-unit building, right, and it's in disrepair, right, 3 to 6 people are leaving anyway on their own, because chances are if you buy a building that's in disrepair, right, there's people who were late with their rent. There's people who were getting away with things that you're not going to allow them to get away with, and they know that. So there is a certain... transition of people naturally anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and my experience, you're not buying a building and everyone's going to stay there after like 3 months after you've bought it.
You almost expect that, right? People get shaky as soon as they hear the building selling. People get very nervous. Like people start looking for somewhere else to go as soon as the building's selling because they're assuming the prices are going to go up. They're assuming they're going to get gouged. Things are going to change, and people normally panic and start looking for other accommodations. Right now, it's hard for them to do that, so a lot of people have been pigeonholed. But it's very, like, as a real estate agent, and I'm sure you know as an investor, when you're walking through these places, man, people are just like, please don't raise the rent. Like, people are very nervous, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's an uncomfortable situation for everybody. Because this, like, so them living there, that's, even though it's a rental space, that's their home. That's where they've raised their family. Sometimes, like you said, the lady that's been there for 40 years.
Three or four kids she has. I went to school with one of her kids.
Right. She probably calls that home.
100%.
Like that's what it is. And that is the difficult part about all this, man. There's a lot of situations arising the last 4 to 5 years that I'd like to cover with you because I think you have some good opinions on this stuff. So the people coming from, I know there's a lot of people that get upset about like people coming from Ontario, people coming from Vancouver, and they're like, oh, they're coming here and raising the prices. But it's like, what do you think about that? Do you think that like, because I know that you and I have talked about this, about the current home prices, where we think home prices are going to go. And I'd like to have this conversation like on air too. Yeah. About where current home prices are going to go.
So this is my take on people coming in. So when I was flipping houses and I was doing 2, 3, I was doing like 2 and 3 at a time sometimes. Okay. Usually you'd get one, but houses were plentiful, right? And if you had cash.
What year are we talking, just for everybody?
Okay, so like 5 years ago.
Right, yeah.
So what's that?
2019.
Okay, so even before that, I mean, I was flipping houses before that.
Right. But yeah, houses were plentiful.
Houses were plentiful.
They'd sit on the market for 6 months.
I was getting them from the bank. I would have no home to work on, and then I'd have 3.
Right.
Right? Because you'd get one, boom. But this is the thing. They were going for 20 grand, 40 grand, 60 grand, right? And you put 30 into it, and it's a fucking mansion now.
Right.
It's a nice home.
Yeah.
Right? And you could sell it for 105, make your profit, and provide a nice home for someone. This is the issue now. I'm glad I'm not really in the house flipping business now because I was only able to flip houses because when I was younger, right, 5 and 10 years ago, I only had a certain amount of cash, right? We're talking sub 100 grand.
Yeah.
So within $100,000, I had to buy and fix the home. So I was able to do that because I was buying them for 50, putting 20 into it, right? Buying them for 70, putting 10 into it, getting the product to market, right? And they were nice, but they were done to a certain standard, right? That really showed how much we bought it and put into it, right? Some of them were very nice because they required more money. Some of them were just nice homes and they only needed 10, 12 grand, and the sale price reflected that.
I've been in a few of them as you were flipping them. We've stopped and had conversations, and you do a really good job.
Yeah, well, thank you. But so now to be in the house flipping game, you need 300,000 cash, right? I've done it every single way. I'm a numbers guy. I am very metrics driven, right? Even though I probably failed every fucking math class ever. I'm very metrics driven. And I cannot see any profit when you're borrowing money. Like hard money? Yeah, thanks. So that's the thing. You need to make real money flipping houses, to really make it worth it, you need real cash. You needed real cash before, but it was a feasible amount of cash. Now you need 200,000 to 300,000 in cash because you need to buy. Where are you getting a property for under 200? If you are, it needs so much work and people do not have the ability to do it. And when you start subbing out things that people do not have the ability to do in-house, it gets very fucking pricey.
Right.
And that's your margin. I know so many people who flipped houses and they made no money. I know they made no money.
You see some of them come on the market half done and they just have to sell it the way it is. And it's a half finished project. And then that's a nightmare for somebody else to come in and
I used
finish.
to be able to get those, right? Because a guy would buy it for 50. He'd think he could do it for 20. You actually needed 40. He has all his money into it. So you pick it up. You could actually pick that property up for the intrinsic value of that property. And you had to rip out everything that they did because it was all homeowner DIY stuff.
Right, do it yourself.
Right. So you had to account for that. But I would pick those up, and then you could pick up where they left off, right? Sell a nice home for a fair price and still make. But now people are like, oh fuck, I just, I bought it for 2, I put 50 into it. I mean, I need like 310,000 for this, because they're still trying to make money.
And these places come up on the market and there's multiple offers going into them, and it's driving the price up even further, making it even more difficult for somebody to come in and put good work into it so that they can flip a worthwhile product to somebody else. I've seen a lot of flip jobs.
Yeah.
That you walk through and you're like, oh, this is hideous. Like, I'm not a carpenter by any means.
Yeah.
And like some of the stuff, it's like, I feel like I could almost do some better work than what I'm seeing.
100%.
Like baseboard kind of popping out. I know some of this is cosmetic, but it's just sloppy. And and then when you see stuff like that, sloppy work on your cosmetics, then you wonder what's going on even deeper into it.
Yeah. Not to mention, does the price reflect the cosmetic inconsistencies?
No,
it doesn't. They priced it as if it was perfect.
Right.
Right? Everything is priced to perfection in this market. Right?
Yeah. And I've seen you have this conversation too on your Facebook Live. So if anybody's not following Ryan on Facebook, you got to look up Ryan Gilmore and give this guy a follow on Facebook, because he's got some interesting lives where he loves sharing his opinions.
Yeah, we get a little spicy.
One of them was you talking about the real estate agents creating the auctions.
Oh, yeah.
Creating the auctions, and you're like, these aren't list prices anymore.
Yeah.
These aren't list prices.
It's starting price.
These are starting bids.
Right.
These are starting bids. Yeah. And there's one thing you said in there about the real estate agents all getting together, and I missed that meeting, but everybody got the message though. I talk so much shit. I don't even, if you refer to something, it probably said that, right? Yeah.
But I pick on real estate agents. I mean, it's like anything. It's easy for me to do that because they're my friends and they're my enemies.
Right.
Sometimes
you're business partners with some.
Right. Sometimes I've gotten really good deals because of real estate agents. Other times they have made it so fucking hard. I just want to say, step aside and let me negotiate this deal.
Right.
Right.
You ever think of doing it yourself, Ryan?
No.
Was it ever something that crossed your mind?
No.
Being in the real estate?
No, I don't have the disposition
game?
To be on that side because of my personality. I can't placate people for money, right? That's a certain skill
placate.
That other people have.
What is that? What's placate?
Like just keep going with you, even though I know that you're doing the wrong thing or the right thing, or I don't have the ability. I guess
you don't have to though. You don't have to do that.
No, you don't
have to steer people astray.
No.
Some people will, but that's why you want to find a good agent who's not going to try to do that.
That's right.
And sometimes you lose deals because of it, man. Like sometimes I have clients where I talk them out of more deals.
Right.
I got a lady right now out in California. She's looking to buy real estate here. And like, I've walked through properties where she's like, this one's amazing. And I'm like, you're not going to like it when you get here. I know the pictures look amazing.
Yeah.
You think this is great, but like, there's a lot of issues. There's water in the basement. This is a structural nightmare. Like, it's like, this is stuff you can't see on camera. And then it like gets to the point where they get discouraged because you're talking them out of deals. But I don't want to have a reputation of bringing people into bad spots. And then there's other deals where clients are so hard set saying, this is the one. And I go, are you sure? And they're like, this is the one. I want it. I need this.
Yeah.
We need to get this, Brandon.
Yeah.
And then I've had that happen before too. And then we win the offer and then things, and they're a little bit sour on the aftermath. And it's like, you were very hard set on this. Like it's a weird game, man. Real estate's a weird industry.
It is because it's a lot of people's largest investment, and it's the thing people do the least amount of fucking research on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For most people, simply buying a home, I can buy a home so fucking quick it will blow your mind. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
I can tell from the pictures. I've looked at so many homes. I can tell from the pictures what's wrong with the home.
Right.
That's guaranteed, because people's like my sisters are a lot younger than me, so they're starting to buy their and my friends and stuff, they're like, oh, look at this, and I'm like, no, it's fucked.
Right.
And then when we get on site, they're like, Jesus, you're right. And I'm like, yeah, but I've seen so many pictures and then cross-reference them on site so many times that I now can literally tell what is wrong.
That's why you'd be good at it.
Right. But
You're literally sitting here saying you'd be the best real estate agent.
no. I mean, as far as being able to run a property down, like I can buy it.
Right.
So
you know what
quick.
you're looking for. Yeah. When you have the structural knowledge, you can look at pictures and then tell right off the bat, because you've taken pictures of your own properties. You know from experience, and a lot of people don't have experience buying homes, right? And a lot of people don't do it as much as you do.
Well, that's what I mean. And obviously it's a lot
They'll do it
easier for
4
people.
or 5 times in their lifetime.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And what part did they really play in it? They just liked it.
Right.
And then paid for it.
Right.
Right. As far as, there's really not a lot of, people don't do a lot of research, man, except for when I'm selling stuff. People seem to be able to pick stuff apart pretty good then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, every buyer is a almost investigator, right? I almost have a different hat on for the buyer role versus the seller role, right?
It would be completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah.
It's like when you're selling a house, I'm trying to find the best things in it and figure out how to market that.
Right.
When I'm selling a house, I'm trying to figure out where are the red flags that we can find right off the bat in the showing without needing to put this under contract, go through the hassle of getting an inspector and then losing the deal because of issues. Let me find as many issues up front.
100%.
And sometimes I've seen clients look at me that are like, it's almost like they think I'm being negative in it, but it's like, and then here's what I say. I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't showing you these things.
Right.
It's nice for these reasons, but keep this in mind and go home and think about it.
Yeah. And there's a tolerance there. Like some people have a tolerance for less quality work than others.
Yes,
or
right.
they don't notice it. And there's a lot of things that you can do prior to an inspection to say, I'm not even going to waste my fucking time.
Right.
I'm just not. Like, why would I waste the $500 to $900 to find it? Because these were all things that were apparent, right? That you can really suss out problems quickly. Right. And that's where that is where I believe that there's good real estate agents, and then there's I don't want to say not good ones, but there's ones that aren't as either educated or they're not as caring, right?
Yeah.
Or it's just about closing the deal. They think about the ends. Oh, I got 200 ends this year, and that's which I understand. When you start to scale, that's where it goes.
That's where it goes.
When you start
absolutely,
to scale,
yeah.
quality goes down. It's inevitable, right? But that's why.
That's a fine line to try to figure out how to scale and have quality, man.
That is why. That's actually in my on the construction side of my business. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I'm having the largest problem scaling because of the reduction in quality.
How big is your crew?
I got 4 guys right now.
4 guys?
Yeah.
Nice.
But we mostly just everyone thinks I have this big construction company, but we mostly just service me.
Well, you seem to do a lot of it yourself too. Because there's videos of you in there. Sometimes grabbing the tools and then doing it yourself as well.
That. I mean,
when you started off, did you do most of it yourself?
I did everything myself.
You did everything yourself?
Yeah. It took
Where'd you get the construction background? Was that just something that came naturally to you? You find you're good at that?
Yeah, I went to school to be a welder.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So I ended up, I'm a pipe welder by trade. I'm a red seal welder, red seal boiler maker.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got away. I got into the union stuff for a while because there was the big money in it, and then it just wasn't.
Did
for
you go
me.
out west at all? Were you out west? You didn't chase that fad?
No.
A lot of guys that were welding probably at the same time that you were went out west and made some.
Yeah.
bank.
Well, the big thing was when I was 24, 23, I had my first daughter, and then there was a long period of time where it was just me and her. Right. The mother was in school.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When you have a kid, that changes things up. Yeah, it makes it harder to do that.
Yeah, so I couldn't do the out west thing because I was just raising her. Yeah, she was 6 months old when me and my first wife split up. Right.
Yeah, that was right when you got back from Afghanistan.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was really no option. It was just to work for junk money, right? $14 an hour. I mean, I was just starting out, so it didn't matter. I mean, you just work. That's what you do, right?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until years later that I ended up getting into the Boilermaker Union, right?
Nice,
My
man.
application from 10 years before got processed. It was so super fucking weird because they were looking for welders. They were looking for actual real pipe welders, right? Which I happen to have the qualifications to be
Welding's a dirty trade, man. And
I love it, man.
I was welding for a while. I was welding aluminum out in Calgary.
Yeah.
I did,
That's
it was MIG. It was the wire wheel welding.
Almost
Aluminum's a weird one
It's-
because I know they say MIG like a monkey can do it, and for steel
Yeah.
I agree, but for aluminum, man, it is so soft, so
Aluminum
soft you
always-
blow right through it.
Unless you're TIG welding aluminum, which I was a really good TIG welder, but not really that great with aluminum.
Yeah, TIG's when you have the little
Yeah.
the solder
Yeah, you get
almost,
your
and
torch
then
and then you get-
you're almost laying the
That's
wire
right.
manually,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I took to that really well because I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
Right. But the aluminum's always looks like shit.
And it's dirty too.
Oh, yeah.
And this stuff starts floating around in the air, man. I was
Yeah.
coming home.
Yeah, you start
after
like sneezing, black shit fucking everywhere. Like
Just
no,
a light
man.
cough. I just
Yeah,
go, and there was black stuff on my hand, and I'm like, "What is going on?" It was in my ears.
That was in
it was
your
in
body.
my nose.
That was in your
In
body.
your body, I know, man. And I was young too, so I had that thing going where I'm like, I'm indestructible. It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah, no, it don't matter when you're young.
no, it doesn't at
when
all.
you-
And then you start looking up the life expectancy of welders,
Yeah.
and I'm like, damn, man.
When-
I
when
implore
you-
anybody who does that. It's yeah,
I
it's
think
an
there was
interesting
something
trade, man.
like, I don't know if this was American or Canadian, but I think it was the average amount of pension checks that a retired Boilermaker gets, or maybe it was welder. I'm not sure. It was 17.
Ooh, so
17
17
months.
years. Oh,
17 months after you retire was the average. I was like,
Are you talking about like a life expectancy right now?
no, I'm talking about after you retire.
Yeah.
I can't remember if this stat was American or Canadian. I can't remember if it was specific to boilermaking or if it was just welding or if it was all encompassing.
Yep.
But the average amount of pension checks a retired was 17.
There was only 17 checks sent out, and then it stopped.
Then you died.
Right. Damn.
So you work your whole fucking life,
Yeah, man.
work
I know.
your sack off
Fuck.
for 17 checks. You know, that's why I have such an affinity for, even though I am trying to move away from the tools,
Yeah.
right? Right. And I try, because I do have a lot of actual like paperwork and stuff to do that has to get done.
Well, you got a lot going on, man. We
Yeah.
haven't even covered the surface of it really
Yeah.
yet.
I want to get away from the tool side of it, right? But I do have an affinity for people that's how they make their living, because that's when all the business stuff that I'm doing and I'm learning and stuff like that, that's all really secondary. What I'm really, really good at is building shit.
Yeah.
Right. And I was building a deck there a couple months ago, and it was like, I think it was raining, and I was putting up trusses or joist hangers, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then I answered myself, and I was like, well, obviously it's because you like it.
Because you enjoy it.
Even
right,
though you tell
right.
yourself, no, fuck, I don't want to do that shit today. I want to, you know.
It's got to be the only way you could.
Right. And then I was like, well, obviously it's to some degree I like it, even though
Right.
I don't like 90% of what I do.
Right.
Right. I like the byproduct of what I do.
Right.
Which is freedom. I don't have to answer to anybody. Right.
Yep.
Money's good, obviously, because money buys both those things.
So you've been working for yourself for how long now?
Fully just like 5 years. But I've always
Okay.
like, you get laid off, you go do your own thing. That was kind of like my life for a while, right? Working in the trades, you're always laid off. So you always gotta,
Right.
you know. But that was when I would buy homes. I would buy homes while I was working, knowing I was going to get laid off in such and such a time, and hold them and flip them. And it took me 5
You had it
years.
all timed out. So you're kind of doing stuff on the side. You had it all. I think you probably wanted to do this from the beginning. Like you probably were working the trades.
No, man, it was
No?
it was
You
weird.
never-
So
You just kind of stumbled into it?
yeah, so when I got out of the Army,
Yep.
right, I did a ton of different shit, man. I had a vinyl printing company.
Did ya?
Oh yeah, I had a website, ship stuff out, right? I had a furniture import company. So when I got out of the Army, everyone was going out west.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah,
right?
man. So check this out. So like, I found out I went to buy a couch or something for myself, and a guy was like, "Oh, I'm selling like my whole apartment," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I really wanted this couch, but I didn't want to pay what he wanted for it. So I
Right.
ended up buying his entire apartment, like 4 couches, 2 chairs, like whatever it was.
furniture.
Bought everything for like $3,000, and he's like, "No, that's cool, man." He's like, "I needed to get rid of it. Now I can go out west." So I
Okay.
fucking started buying people's apartments, people's houses, everything, and I was storing it. And then what I was doing was I'd buy like 3 couches, right, for $300 or whatever, and I'd sell each one for $150. I'd just mark it up just a little bit, and it was to one point where in my warehouse I had like 50 couch sets, and I would only buy like relatively new shit.
You're
right?
flipping them for more than you were buying
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but what I was
yeah.
doing was I found a niche where people they wanted to sell all their stuff in one go, because they needed the
Smart.
money to go out west.
Right.
Because
right.
everyone was
That's-
going out
okay,
west.
yeah, and that's during that.
Right. So
right,
I
right.
was buying their shit for pennies on the dollar, because they wanted $3,000 at one time. And of course, you get rid of all the
Where were you
lamps.
storing it?
I had it's actually funny where the outflow center is we owned that church.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're the idiots that sold the outflow center to the outflow center, and then inevitably pushed me out of my first home.
Damn.
So that was
what a cycle, man. I didn't know you were doing that.
I did.
That's the cool part about doing this.
Yeah, man. Like
I didn't know you were flipping furniture like that.
Yeah.
I think this is a good segue to go into. I want to talk about your union smoke break. I see what you got going on with the union smoke break. You've been starting to brand that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that at all a little bit? Because I think you got some big plans with that.
So how I run my crew is that we don't take lunch breaks. There's not scheduled smoke breaks. We get our work done, right? Some days you work hard, some days you don't do fuck all, right? But when I was in the union, it was always like go, 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 and you have your break and you get your this, and then the union smoke break kind of just came up, like, because I remember I came in one day and I said, "What the fuck you guys doing?" And the guy just said, "Oh, union smoke break," right? Because no one was doing anything.
And
right?
It sounds official. It sounds like right. It sounds like an official moment.
Yeah. So as soon as I kind of like seen
union
that,
smoke
I just
break.
went.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I went and bought the website as soon as I kind of liked the catchphrase.
Yeah.
Union smoke break, and then I bought the website not even thinking anything, but it was like $9, so why the fuck wouldn't you? So I got unionsmokebreak.com, and then I got the idea I was going to order some clothes with my company logo on them, right? And then I was like, well, fuck it, why don't I just have a logo drawn up? So I went on like Fiverr and I went online. I had all these people trying to make logos, and none of them looked good.
Yeah.
So I just said, fuck it, I'll buy Adobe myself, and just over Christmas I fucked around with it.
Oh, you've been doing that yourself on that one. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I just
cool.
like YouTube how to do shit.
Yep.
Did it. I came up with a logo. I was working with a guy locally, and I dumbed the logo way down, and I made it look like good. And I'm just trying to appeal. Like, I'm going to launch some T-shirts and shit like that, just for real blue collar people to wear.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
because like I said, I do have an affinity for, I am blue collar to my core.
Yep.
Right. As much as I like wearing nice clothes and this and that, I mean, it is however I get to where I got because I can build things with my hands.
And the part that I find fun with it is seeing it come up on your Facebook Live. So when you do your union smoke break, the logo comes up, and then you're in your truck smoking a cigar.
Well,
then there's normally a 5 to 20 minute rant going on about something, and you just stay right in the pocket, and you got a point to make, and you just kind of go right at it, and that stogie's going from full down to a half there. And it's just like you're all filled with smoke. It's almost this majestic thing to watch.
I
and
like smoking, man.
It's fun.
I like it. I love smoking.
I actually have a cigar in the car. I'm not sure. Do you smoke it in the truck?
Oh, yeah.
We can go smoke one after this.
Fucking right. We were planning on doing it anyway. I'll take you to the job site. We'll fucking
I'm
see
up
what's
for that.
going on. Yeah, man. I love smoking. I know it's not good for you, right? I try and stay pretty fit. I don't drink rarely, right?
Yeah.
I eat I just eat like a dog, the same stuff every day.
Eat like a dog.
Yeah, I believe. No, I do. I eat the same shit every day. Guy said that to me one time when I was always fit, right? Because I was in the army, right?
Yeah, you've never been.
And then when I got comfortable in the union, making big money, sitting around, I got a 22-year-old girlfriend. She's hot.
Yeah, it's easy to slip,
right? And then I slip. So one day I wake up. Well, what happened was I got Audible. I don't even know why I got Audible. I think I had a subscription for like a free.
Okay, we're talking about the audiobooks?
Yeah, and then
cool,
and then one of the books was Can't Hurt Me.
Damn, you listen to the David Goggins.
So I put that on there.
Yeah, that'll get you moving, man.
No, and I reflected back on and I said, like, man, all the stuff that you did, you used to be such a fucking hard human being. Right? And then now I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, oh, you're fucking fat now because you're comfortable. And then I took a fucking deep dive into that shit. Like I listened to his book in one day and I read his book in another day, read it again. And then I would listen to excerpts of it.
I got it right there.
What? Oh,
Can't
yeah.
Hurt Me. I got the book right there.
That is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Can't Hurt Me. Yeah, that's for his first book. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. I mean, if you have the background, for me, it was only because I could rely on how I used to operate before.
Yeah.
Right? I used to operate at such a high level before. And then I got slipping, and I was like, money can fuck you up.
Yeah.
The golden handcuffs, getting paid $150,000 a year. You have an easy job because you just show up and you go home, right?
And now you have that standard for yourself. You have a standard that you set before in the past.
Yeah.
Where you're used to being a certain level of fit. You're used to operating in a certain way and feeling a certain way.
Right.
And do you feel like you felt as good when you weren't in shape? Were you feeling good still?
No, I felt like shit.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I had a 3-story house.
Yep.
And I never went up to my bedroom because I felt it such a daunting task to go up 3 flights of stairs from my office to the top. So I slept in my office.
Damn.
Like, that's the level that you get at when you have money, when you're starting to get paid money. I don't mean making money like we make money because we eat what we catch. Now that's a different type of living. Right. When you're getting paid a big salary.
Yep.
You're
It's a drug. It's comfort.
It is, because you can now buy comfort.
Yep.
You can buy a more comfortable mattress. The fuck do I need a more comfortable mattress for? To stay in bed longer?
Silk sheets.
Why would I want to do that? I can buy a bigger. I can pay for someone to plow my driveway. Okay, you know what I mean.
Right.
Everything. The way I looked at it when I took the deep dive into myself, I said I am now just paying to become weaker.
That's a good way to look at it. That's a really good way to look at it.
To become weaker now.
Paying to become weaker.
And
right.
that day,
right.
I just started running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly why I got turned on to that.
Man, reading this book, it is hard not to get running when you're reading that.
Yeah.
I was reading that. I actually haven't finished the book yet. I absolutely love David Goggins, love everything about him. I watch all of his podcasts. But every time I did read a chapter, the reason I haven't read it is because every time I read a chapter, I do get out and run. I'm like, I have to move. It's like I feel the anxiety of what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's lived such a, it's not relatable, but everybody has something in their life that they can relate to the things that he's gone through. He's gone through some crazy turmoil.
Yeah, man.
But everybody in their life's gone through some shit that they can relate to the feelings that he's talking about. And then when he talks about how he deals with those, about just kind of going into his demons and just kind of running and then just working out in almost a psycho manner, but that's what makes him feel good. And it's true, man. The more difficult things you do, the better you feel.
100%. And that's why my goal, and it still is, was every day, it was not to make my life easier. It was to make it harder, right? It was either to make it harder in business. It was either to make it harder physically, right? Because when you start to make your life harder, that's when you start to actually progress.
That's where you grow, right? That's where the growth is.
It's no different than working out. You have to stress the muscle, right? You need the stress. You need the hardship, right?
I was just listening to an Andrew Huberman podcast that he was talking to David Goggins on. Not sure if you listened to that one.
No.
Really good. Andrew Huberman is like a neuropsychologist, I believe, he's a very smart guy. And anyway, so he was talking about how there's a piece of our brain so let's say that we enjoyed running. Like, let's say that you loved running and you went out and ran every day.
Yeah, which for the record, I don't.
I hate it. I hate it. And like people are like, oh, I just ran a marathon a few months ago. And people are like, oh, well, you're a runner. And it's like, no, I actually hate running.
Right.
But that's why I wanted to get good at it, because I never had good cardio. You can ask buddies that I used to work out with 5-6 years ago. We'd go for a 5K run and I puked every single time.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Miserable. And I normally ran till I puked and realized that actually wasn't good. Anyway, so Andrew Huberman was talking about how when you do things that you don't like, so let's say that you like running, it wouldn't help this certain part of your brain grow, but when you do things that you do not like to do, so if that's running, then that actually grows a piece of your brain. There's a piece of your brain that actually gets like larger, and it's larger in people that do a lot of things that they don't want to do. But the funny thing is like I was thinking about this today. There's some guys that go to the gym, but they're almost lazy guys.
Yeah.
They're jacked.
Yeah.
They're ripped, but they're almost lazy. And it's like, well, how does that happen? And it's probably because they like working out. So it's actually easy to do. So they like that feeling. But then like the fact that they like it doesn't allow that portion of the brain that I'm talking about to grow, because now because they're actually doing something they like. So it's like you can even, some people like doing hard shit, but it doesn't change that. I thought that was fascinating. I wish I knew the part of the brain, but I'm not a neuropsychologist by any degree.
I always, tell people, because when I was running a lot, because I started boxing again after that. Right. So I was obviously having to run.
Yep.
And then when you're fighting guys who are 19 and 20 and you're 35, like, you got to be in good shape, because
Yeah.
they're just in good shape because they're that age and they train.
Right.
Right. So
right. And they've been doing this all their life kind of deal.
So
yeah.
I was always telling, I said, man, why don't you go out and run to a friend of mine? Right. He's like, oh no, I'm just going to do my rowing machine. I like doing that. I was like, well, that's the fucking point. You're not supposed to like it.
Right.
You think I do not like running. I don't even like exercising. Right. I like fighting.
Right.
That's about it.
Yep.
Right. I like doing that stuff, but all the leading up to it, no, I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like all the training.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I like weightlifting to a certain degree, and but the running that's the variable. And it's funny, actually, after I finished running my marathon, I got a little bit lazy because I was like, damn, I just did something that I'm pretty proud of. And the amount of food I was eating to train to run the marathon, when you're burning 2,000, 3,000 calories a day, where you're doing runs that are 20 to 30 kilometer runs to build up to the marathon, you are burning fuel. So I was eating like a pig.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I packed on probably, like, I'm the heaviest I've been right now. I'm like 160, and that's the heaviest I've ever been. And right now I'm like, okay, I need to get that dialed back in. I need to get this kind of sorted out again. And so it's only been a few months, but just watching that slip, man. So that's why I was talking about you, about like when you're seeing yourself slip, you may not other people might look at you and think, damn, he's in good shape, or, he just ran that marathon. Like, he's in such good shape kind of deal. But subconsciously, you know what you're capable of. When you start to slip, you carry that around with you. And it's like, other people might not see it, but it's something that wears at you. We have this subconscious voice in the back of our mind that knows if we're holding our standard or not, that knows if we're being the person
that's your accountability.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
my girlfriend says, she says, you have body dysmorphia or something. And I say, yeah, probably. I probably do.
Yeah.
Right? Because I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, you fat fucking piece of shit. Like, make sure you work out today, because this is how you look.
Right.
Someone's going to steal your girlfriend from you because you're not taking care of yourself. Your kids aren't going to respect you.
Someone's going to steal you.
You know what I mean? Like,
right, man. Yeah.
That's how I think. But to me, that motivates me.
Right.
The thought of someone... The thought of my children looking at me, and only respecting me because I'm the de facto person that they have to respect.
You want to be
that doesn't sit well with me.
Right. You want to be like their hero.
Right.
You want them to look up.
And you have to actually be able to do hero shit.
Right.
You can't just be that guy. I seen one time, it's terrible to think like this, but I seen one time this guy, he was like a grandfather, or maybe he was the father, I don't know. And the kid was just like bouncing. I was in a Walmart parking lot, and they were at their car, and the kid was just like bouncing to get picked up by this guy.
Right.
And so he had something to put into the vehicle, so he like bent over, right, and his ass crack was hanging out. He was like a big fat guy, and I just thought to myself, I said, that little girl who was like 6 years old, she idolizes that person.
Yep.
She idolizes that man for no other reason other than that's she doesn't know any. I don't want to say any better, because maybe he's a great grandfather or a father.
Sure,
but I'm
right,
saying
right.
physically, like the look of it, like he doesn't measure up physically to her perception of him at that point. And for me, that doesn't sit well for me.
Right.
I need to look, feel, and act like the person that they think that I am.
Right. Exactly.
In fact, I have to be better. Mm-hmm. Right. Because it doesn't sit well with me for someone to just respect you because you're their parent.
Right.
Right. There has to be that baseline of that.
Yeah.
But they also have to be able to look up to you because of the things that you do, and you walk the walk, you talk the talk, and you can actually accomplish things.
Yeah.
You've actually done things in the past.
That's a cool thing that I find with social media, is you're able to find people who inspire you. So let's say that you're in a situation where there's maybe not many inspiring people around you. You can look online now and find people
100%.
who are out there fucking getting it. You can, me too, all the time, man. And it's like, that's the reason that I got into running a marathon, is I started following a guy, Cameron Haynes. And he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he's just this like really humble bow hunter, but he's like in his 50s, and the guy runs like a marathon a day. And for some reason, when I hear that, I'm like, it almost gives me chills. I'm like, that is cool as fuck.
It
like,
is.
Imagine that being your father, like, or imagine that being somebody that you're related to, or a brother, or fucking anything.
It could go two ways.
It's like, is that ever fucking cool?
It could inspire you to no end to accomplish things that no one else could ever accomplish, or it could cripple you because you know deep down inside that no matter how hard you try, you will never measure up. It could go
Yeah,
both
you
ways.
can't. There's always going to be somebody
That's subject
there's
to
always-
personality, though.
That's subject
right?
to personality for sure, because there's always going to be that. There's
Yeah.
always going to be somebody who's a little bit better than you, and
You gotta excuse me. I woke up a little sick today, so.
that's all good, man.
Yeah.
That's all good. Yeah, you don't want to look at somebody like that and have it cripple you. You want to use it as inspiration, use it as fuel as to what is.
Yeah.
And I know you do this. I'm just saying, like, out loud, like, so because some people will let that cripple them.
Well, that's where the
and like I never want that for if like, and I'm not fucking inspiring at all, but like even just running a marathon, it's like I didn't know if I could do it. I was just saying to my girlfriend today, I'm like, I didn't know if I could run a marathon, but I know
Of course you did. You just don't stop.
I'm stubborn enough.
Anyone can run a marathon.
Anybody can do it, man.
You just do not stop.
You do not stop.
And
right,
if you stop,
right,
you better stop with your face on the floor, passed out.
right,
That's
right,
it. End of story.
Right.
Right? It might take you 19 hours to get across the finish line. I'm telling you
Right,
right,
man,
you could.
yeah.
Anyone can do it.
Anybody, you can walk a marathon, right? Technically, like
Right.
if somebody really wanted to, they could just walk it.
Yeah.
and it would take
And,
forever.
and
but
I'm not diminishing your accomplishments with saying that, but
No,
I'm
no,
saying
no.
you knew you were finishing that fucking marathon. You just are thinking.
I wanted to do it in a certain
the
time frame.
That's right.
There's
That's
a
what
time
I mean.
frame that I wanted.
Because
and,
no one
and when I was
respect-
15 minutes over that time, I was really eating myself up, man.
Yeah.
It's interesting what your fucking brain does to you, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though I was currently in that moment running the longest I've ever ran in my entire life, my brain was just like, "You're a fucking piece of shit because you're missing your time. You're a fucking loser. And it's just eating me." And I'm like, "Holy fuck, am I gonna finish this?" And it's like, "You gotta fucking," I had to shake it out. It was like, and luckily this guy came up behind me, because when you're at the very end of that,
Yeah, yeah.
when you're at the very end of that race, your separation between people is so large.
Oh,
You can
yeah,
look
for
in
front
front of you
imagine.
and maybe see one guy. You can look way behind you, and if you're lucky, you might see one guy kind of deal. But at the first, you're all clumped up together.
Yeah.
But at the end, everybody's real separate. This guy caught up to me, man, and like, it was almost like a little guardian angel at the time. He's just
Yeah,
like,
man.
"Come on, man, you can do it." And like him and I he's like, "I'm in pain too. Let's finish this."
That's it.
And it's kind
And
of
that's
like a
all it
little
takes
pick me up buddy,
sometimes.
right? It's like a fire team partner in the
Yeah.
military. That voice, man, I want to ask you this, Ryan. The voice that you have in the back of your head that eats you up when you're fucking looking in the mirror saying like, "Damn, I'm not doing what I should be doing." I want to know, I have a question for you. At what age did you join the military?
18.
Do you think that the military instilled a little bit of that voice, or did you always have that voice in you?
Oh yeah, no, the military does that, and it does.
'Cause I have it too, man.
It does it on purpose, right? Because you are with a bunch of highly functioning people who are mostly A-type personalities, and there's always someone in front of you doing better than you, right? There's always someone outdoing you. If you're the top dog, where
And they
you're
reward
at,
those people, and they reward them too.
Right.
Every course, there's always a top soldier.
Right.
There's always a top achievement to strive
top
for.
shot,
Top
there's
shot.
top runner. I mean,
Right.
There's an unlimited pool of competition.
Yeah.
And to be the top, you might be the top, but you're not the top at everything. You're gonna get fucking wrecked on something.
You might be the top of the 20 people you're with.
Right.
But there's other sections. There's
Yeah,
other courses.
yeah, and-
there's
and-
other.
yeah, and then-
There's other provinces and
And then
companies.
there's other militaries. You get to go to
Right.
Ranger School, and all of a sudden you got fucking torqued in Ranger School.
You're there with the Brits
You finished
and-
last, and that's still a good accomplishment.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly,
You know,
man.
so
Yeah.
like,
okay, cool.
That's where I think that shit comes from.
Do you think so? Because I
Yeah.
wonder where mine comes from sometimes, and I wonder if it is from the military. Because I'm like, I don't think I had this before. I
No.
don't think I had it before the military.
But I mean, you
I
were young,
can't shake
too.
it. 16 years old when I started.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So
was 16.
you're barely even
My
developed.
brain was still developing at that time.
Right.
And I don't think it's ever going to leave me now, which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah, no, me
I don't even
too.
think I knew it at the time. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know how it was going to affect me. But I'm like, fuck, am I ever glad I did that?
100%. I have a lot of bad habits, we'll call them, from the military, but I have a lot of good ones too.
Right.
And I'm just hoping that the good ones outweigh
100%.
the bad ones.
Yeah, I think they
right?
do for sure.
You know what I mean? Don't come up behind me and try and scare me. You're
Right.
getting sparked. Right? That's the bad one. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
be doing that.
Yeah.
Right? But as far as drive and stuff like that, like you probably, once you get on something, I feel like I can't be stopped. That's how I feel. I feel like once I decide something is getting done, however it is getting done, if it's through sheer hard work, if it's through tactic, if it's through planning and preparation, or if it's through pure white knuckled will, that thing is getting done. right?
Yep.
That's the one good thing that the military instills in people.
Right. And almost needing something to do. I find I need to have something to do. I don't feel right.
Well, of course.
Not having
'Cause there's
any,
so-
and like that drives some people crazy too, right?
But there's it drives me nuts. I launched a t-shirt company over Christmas because everyone wasn't working. That's the kind of bullshit. That's how that came about.
Right.
Yeah. Over Christmas time.
Yeah.
Because everything was shut down and all I had was Adobe Illustrator and a fucking website. You know what I mean?
Gotta
and
be
I
doing
said, well, fuck it.
something.
I'll just do shirts. Now that's how we roll that out.
Yeah.
Right. So the doing something is that's in you forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is good. It's a good thing to have.
It is. Yeah.
You don't want to man, like that's the thing with life is you always want to, some of the healthiest people I know are the people that don't stop. Some of the oldest, healthiest humans I know are people who get up every day and they go to work and they keep doing something. They have purpose.
Yeah, man.
They have a purpose and they're the happiest and the healthiest too.
100%.
Right. And I think that, well, that can be family for some people. It can be just waking up and taking care of a household as long as you find purpose in it,
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, I find that fascinating how like some people can be, you see it in other cultures too, like other cultures that don't retire young, that they like, it's like generational. They kind of work until they die. But some of those people are the healthiest people.
Yeah. Well, what else are you supposed to do? The idea of retirement is lost on me.
You sit there and you have grapes on a beach and somebody's feeding you, you're drinking martinis. That's fun for
that
what?
would be great for a little bit.
For a week?
I said maybe.
2 maybe at the most, and you'd be going crazy.
At the very most.
Yeah.
People always ask me why I don't vacation. And I don't vacation because the whole lot, like, it's not fun for me to go away for a week and just chill, knowing that I have to go back to a regular life. What's fun for me is to create a life I don't need vacations from.
Right. Yeah. That's powerful, man. That's a powerful statement.
If I can't, like some people go and they ball out and they buy $300 steaks and this, I did that when I came back from Afghanistan too. Like we were in Greece, we were in all over the place. Yep. You do that stuff. But in doing that, I realized that if I can't do this every day, right, I'm not doing it.
It's not
fun for me.
Yeah.
Right? Because you listen to that guy and he's like, oh, I had this steak this one time. And you're like, gives a fuck about that. Right. If you liked it, why wouldn't you just eat it all the time?
Right.
So, or create a life so that you're able to do that.
Yep.
Right. So that's, I mean, one of the things that makes me happy is that I don't need a vacation from what I do. Mm-hmm. Right. Would it be nice? Yeah. But, I don't believe in the whole vacation, escape for a week.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I went on a couple conferences recently. That was interesting.
Yeah,
Those are fun.
I was following you and you do that. That would be so good for networking and stuff like that. Man, you have to meet people.
We were talking about it because it's expensive to go on those conferences
100%.
because it's not paid by the business. Being self-employed as a real estate agent, we pay for all that out of pocket. And me and my girlfriend were talking about it and saying like, is it worth, especially the Vegas one? But we were talking about it going, is it worth it? And one thing I realized, and one thing that I can say with confidence coming back from it, is you cannot explain in a spreadsheet the ROI that you will get from going to a conference and meeting people because you have no idea what tips somebody might give you.
Right.
Just the one thing somebody says, the way they say it to you at that time could spark something in you that then puts something in motion that changes everything forever.
100%.
And I've seen it just going to Vegas. Some of the connections that we made, we got on calls with other people that we never would have been on and heard different pieces of advice from people that we never would have heard if we didn't go to this conference in the first place.
Yeah, 100%.
And this network that you build of people. And then you kind of like me, and I think you're probably pretty similar, like being competitive where I like having people that are doing really well around me because it's like now I'm like almost competitive with them. It's like I want to keep up. I want to keep up to everything.
And,
like
and
I don't want to be left behind.
You don't have to dumb yourself down.
Right.
You don't have to dumb your accomplishments down for fear of making people feel uncomfortable, which is a huge fucking thing now.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah. People.
Right.
Yeah, some people will get uncomfortable when you talk.
I know people
about even money, man. Money's even just a weird thing to talk. Like some people can't talk about money.
People should only be talking about money. I get rid of anyone I don't have a circle at all. I have almost zero friends. I spend time with my family.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. But when I'm around people, if we're not talking about how to make money, I have zero interest in it.
Right.
I have no social life, none. I don't care. I'm going to where I'm at now in business, I'm going to have to partner with people to scale. But if you do not bring money to the table, if you just tell me how hard you work, that's great. I pay for those people.
Right.
If you don't bring money or skills to the table, I have no interest in it. But I am going to end up having to partner with people because I'm going to build houses this year.
Okay, nice,
right?
nice.
So I'm going to have to partner. So I'm going to have to expand my social circle a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. But money's a big thing. No one wants to talk about money.
So you want to get into new construction?
Oh yeah. Sub 400,000.
Yeah.
Affordable housing.
Yep.
You know, that's my niche right there. I can build it.
Where are you thinking ideally?
I don't know.
If you could find the land, probably east.
Yeah.
Like you looking to stay east?
100%. Yeah.